He signed our divorce papers with a smirk, whispering good riddance. Then the judge pulled out my father's will, and everything changed. The courtroom was silent, thick with the weight of years I'd spent trying to hold it all together. William, my husband, leaned back in his chair, pen in hand, twirling it like he was signing a simple receipt. He glanced at me with that look, mocking, triumphant. "Good riddance," he whispered, just loud enough for me to hear, as if I were nothing but a problem he could finally discard. It should have been the end, but it wasn't. Thank you for sticking around with me, my wonderful story family. If you're already hooked in for today's story and ready to enjoy it, click subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from, because tomorrow I will be giving you another story just as interesting as this one. And you don't want to miss it. Now let us begin. Before the ink could even dry, the judge reached for an envelope. My heart stopped. It was sealed with my late father's crest, the one I hadn't expected to see today. The room went dead silent. William's smirk faltered. For the first time, I saw him sweat. The judge began to read from the will, and the words that came next shattered everything William thought he knew. "I'm Andrea Smith. On the outside, I had it all: the perfect marriage, a career on the rise, a home in the city. But none of it was real. William wasn't the man I thought he was. For years, I let his mockery, his manipulation slide. I convinced myself it was love, until I couldn't anymore. I met him when I was young, full of dreams. He was charming, confident, the man I thought would build a future with me. But the cracks appeared, and over time, I became a shell of who I was. I stayed because I believed in our vows. I stayed because, in some twisted way, I thought I could fix him. But today? Today was different. The moment that envelope was opened, I knew this was the beginning of my fight back. Judge Morrison adjusted his reading glasses and cleared his throat. "The last will and testament of James Robert Smith," he began, his voice steady and formal. The courtroom fell silent. My father. A man who built his empire from nothing in Ponca City, who knew every oil lease, every handshake that mattered in Oklahoma. William sat beside his lawyer, that insufferable smirk still plastered across his face. "To my daughter, Andrea Smith," the judge continued, "I leave the entirety of my estate, properties, and financial holdings," he paused, looking up, "with the explicit provision that no claims made by William Carter shall be honored or recognized." William's face went white. My father had seen him coming. He'd known. William shot to his feet, his chair scraping against the polished floor. "This is ridiculous." That will was clearly made under duress. James wasn't in his right mind. But his voice cracked. The confidence that had carried him through months of torment was crumbling like dry Oklahoma clay. "Sit down, Mr. Carter," Judge Morrison said firmly. I felt Sarah Davidson's hand gently touch my shoulder. My lawyer, no, my ally, leaned close. "This is just the beginning, Andrea. The will protects your inheritance, but there's more we need to expose. His fraud, the forged documents, the accounts he drained while you were grieving." I looked at William. Really looked at him. The man who'd whispered promises in the dark, who'd held me at my father's funeral, who'd slowly poisoned everything I loved. He wasn't untouchable anymore. And I was done being his victim. Sarah spread the documents across her mahogany desk in downtown Washington. Bank statements. Wire transfers. Dates that made my stomach turn. "Look at this one," she said, pointing to a transfer dated 3 days after my father's funeral. $340,000. Moved to an offshore account in William's name. My hands trembled as I flipped through the pages. Another transfer. Then another. All while I'd been drowning in grief, barely able to get out of bed. He started the day after the funeral. My voice was barely a whisper. Before, actually. Sarah pulled out another file. "This goes back 6 months, while your father was still in hospice care." William had been planning this, while holding my hand at Dad's bedside. while promising he'd take care of everything. While I trusted him with my entire world. He hadn't just betrayed me. He'd hunted me. The courtroom was packed now. Word had spread through Ponca City like wildfire. The oil heiress versus the conman who tried to steal it all. William took the stand, his suit crisp, his expression calculated. Your Honor, Andrea was unstable after her father's death. I was trying to protect the estate, to manage things she couldn't handle. But Sarah was ready. Mr. Carter, can you explain why you transferred funds to the Cayman Islands while claiming to protect the estate? His jaw tightened. Those were legitimate business expenses. Business expenses? Sarah held up a receipt. Like the $80,000 yacht rental in Monaco? The penthouse in Miami. Gasps rippled through the gallery. One by one, witnesses came forward. His assistant. His accountant. People he'd thought were loyal. Each one peeled back another layer of his lies. I watched his mask finally fall. Sarah worked through the night, her office light the only one burning in the building. I brought coffee at 2 a.m. and found her surrounded by depositions, phone records, and a timeline that stretched across her entire wall. You should rest, I said. Not yet. She tapped a highlighted text message. Look at this. William texted his accountant. She won't notice. She's too broken to pay attention. My chest tightened. Sarah pulled up another file. And here, emails to your father's business partners, telling them you were incompetent. He was isolating you, Andrea. Systematically cutting you off from anyone who could help. This wasn't just theft. It was calculated destruction. Tomorrow we present all of it, Sarah said, her voice steel. Bank fraud. Forgery. Conspiracy. He wanted to erase you. She looked at me with fierce determination. We're going to erase him instead. The courtroom doors swung open, and I walked in, not the broken woman William had tried to create, but the daughter my father raised. Judge Morrison called the final hearing to order. Sarah presented everything, the offshore accounts, the forged signatures, the text messages that proved premeditation. William's lawyer tried to object, but the evidence was suffocating. Then Sarah nodded at me. My turn. I stood, my voice clear and unwavering. Your Honor, for months I believed I was nothing without him. That I needed him to survive my grief, to manage my life. I looked directly at William. His eyes wouldn't meet mine. But the truth is, I'm finally everything without you. The courtroom was silent. You tried to take my father's legacy. My security. My sense of self. I straightened my shoulders. You failed. Judge Morrison's gavel came down. Mr. Carter, you are hereby ordered to repay the full amount of $2.3 million to the estate of James Robert Smith, plus damages. Judge Morrison's voice was absolute. Furthermore, Mr. Carter is barred from any future claims against Ms. Smith or her assets. William lunged forward. This is insane. You can't. Mr. Carter, one more outburst and you'll be held in contempt. The judge's gaze was ice. Additionally, this court is referring your case to the district attorney for criminal prosecution. Fraud. Embezzlement. Forgery. The color drained from William's face. Ms. Smith, Judge Morrison turned to me, full control of your father's estate is hereby restored to you, with all protections under law. I exhaled. Really exhaled. For the first time in a year. My father had known. He'd protected me even from the grave. And I had found the strength to finish what he started. Outside, Sarah hugged me tight. You did it. No. We did. The courthouse steps were flooded with cameras and microphones. I paused, letting the winter sun hit my face. Ms. Smith, how does it feel to win? I thought about my father. About the nights I'd cried myself to sleep. About every moment William made me doubt my own worth. "It feels like coming home," I said simply. "What's next for you?" I smiled. "Honoring my father's legacy. Supporting others who've been manipulated and betrayed. Making sure no one else has to fight this battle alone." Behind me, through the courthouse windows, I could see William being led away in handcuffs. His empire, built on lies, had crumbled. Mine, built on truth, was just beginning. The journey from darkness to light can feel impossibly long. There were days I didn't think I'd survive. But every step, every tear, every moment of standing up when I wanted to fall, it brought me here. If Andrea's story has moved you, walk with me. Subscribe, and let's continue this journey together.
Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as interesting and even more intriguing as can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.